but with an eh instead of an I.
Okay. Ryan, I really appreciate you coming down and joining me over here at the AZ Local Show. This is my little thing I've been doing lately where I interview people that get things done, and you do a lot, man. I was just recently on your podcast, Topless Robot, and it's awesome. I was just complimenting right now. It's much better setup than I have, but yeah, you get a lot done, man. You coordinate events at the Grid. What's that like? Is that stressful?
It certainly can be. Like in cases where I don't think far enough ahead, and it's a week before an empty date, and I have to find something to put there. Or, God forbid, a week before 2 empty dates, and I have to find 2 full lineups.
Oh, Jesus, man! And that's like almost like a night job, right? Like
pretty much.
Or basically all day because you're planning stuff during the day, and then you had to be there at night, right?
Right. Well, and I don't necessarily have to be there because our staff is great, and, cool. So our staff handle most of the stuff on site.
Nice.
But for the most part, my job, as far as that's concerned, is handling communication and just online talking to people.
Yeah,
so,
no, it's great. No, and it's funny too because how I stumbled on you was at a show asking you questions.
Yep.
And that's how I kind of figured. I was like, oh, this guy's doing a freaking shitload too. So yeah, I started getting into your world, man, and seeing everything you're doing. The first time I went to the Grid was for a Scylla show, and it's awesome. If you haven't been to the Grid, it's not like an arcade place. They have actual consoles set up, all sorts of consoles, from Nintendo, PlayStation to Dreamcast. I didn't think I saw that, right?
Yeah, we've got Dreamcast. We've got pretty much every console that is available, as well as some arcades and some stuff that you'd expect to find in an arcade, like air hockey. And stuff.
Yeah. No, that's great. And even board games too. I love that too. Just just whatever board game you want to find. There's a huge wall. I just saw that recently. So that's really cool. But yeah, other stuff that you've been doing is I saw voice acting. Tell us about that. What do you got going on with voice acting? You just did something recently, right?
So the thing that came out recently is more of a. It originally released a couple of years ago. It was a contract that I did for a video game company called Fatbot Games, and they. Just recently released the game on all the other platforms like PS4 and Switch and all that, whereas it was originally released on PC. So I was pretty excited about that. It's the first video game I've ever voice acted in.
Oh, that's what.
But aside from that, several years ago, I've always wanted to be a voice actor, and several years ago, I felt like I kept asking, how do I become a voice actor? And not really making any headway, and there's a lot of stuff online that'll try and lead you down one path that costs a lot of money, and it's like, hey, give us $1,000 and we'll make your dreams come true, that kind of stuff. So I stopped kind of wondering how and just bought myself a $100 Audio-Technica AT2020 mic and had an audio interface and used a pirated copy of Adobe Audition and just started recording auditions for stuff on Reddit and voicebunny.com and stuff like that.
That's awesome, man. And you know what? That's another thing that I'm trying to highlight with this. A lot of people, there's going to be 1,000 reasons not to do something. So just do it. And that's really cool, man, that you were just like, you know what, I'm putting up my own walls. And you knock them down. That's really awesome that you just go for it. And that's all people need to realize a lot of times is just got to do it.
Yeah, I mean, with most of what I do, it all starts with like, I wonder what it's like to do that. And then you kind of create your own barriers by coming up with an excuse, like, I don't know enough to do that.
Exactly.
And the whole point is to experiment, like, do what you think you need to do in order to do the thing, and then fail, and then maybe learn from that. And,
Oh, that's my timer for my game already! But yeah, real quick, I do want to touch on that more. Seriously, it's just, people put up a lot of walls on themselves, and they need to realize it's okay to make mistakes. And you have to be brave enough to pick yourself up every time and keep going forward.
No matter what you start doing, you're not going to do it perfectly from the get-go, ever.
No, never. You're always going to have to learn from yourself. And it helps watching others that are accomplishing things and trying to compare yourself to those things, too. So, yeah, that's really cool. So, my random game here for us, guys. You're a very creative person, Ryan. So, what we're going to do is we're going to draw a random... draw a random thing here, and we're going to build it out of Legos. So go ahead and put these blindfold on.
Hold on. It's a little bright.
There we go. All right, if you can pick a little thing out of this eye here.
All right.
Ready? All right, you can take off the blindfolds now. We can read it together. What are we making out of Legos? There's some pretty random things in here. Some music related, some just random. A microphone. So here we go.
So this could be the diaphragm, right? Like this could easily be.
Oh, nice. Here we go. Oh, yes. It's all coming together now.
Oh, come on. The one thing with these big circular ones is never getting it to line up right. And it's just gonna sit on there. There we go.
It has an on or off switch, and we did it together.
Yay!
Thank you. Oh yeah, that was great. No, but I like this because you had the black on the top. All right, cool. That was my quick little game because Ryan's very creative. But yeah, that was a quick game. I wanted to start it off early so we can get into some serious stuff. And my Bushimi eyes there.
Very serious stuff.
Right?
Very, very serious stuff.
But yeah, let's definitely let's get started. We're sort of getting started. How did you get started with everything, all this spiel here? You recently moved to Arizona in 2015, you said, right?
Yep.
So when you got here, you just intermingled yourself, or you already knew people here? Or?
I knew one person out here.
Oh,
actually,
really?
two, I guess, technically, but the other person I knew from back home in Wisconsin. He had moved out here 2 months prior to my moving out here.
You just glorified the heat and just said how awesome it was? And
well, yeah, no. So, to be honest, you know, when I was in Wisconsin, I was unemployed, didn't have, you know, a lot of money. I was gigging around a little bit. Like I had 2 bands that I played in, and was promoting shows, but I never took money from booking shows. And I hosted a karaoke night, and so things were kind of winding down for me.
Right.
And I was getting kicked out of my house, and I decided to just get rid of everything that didn't fit in my car and just drive. Like I'd been booking shows in Madison for years, and originally the plan was to kind of drive around and stop in the cities where I have friends who I've booked, you know, while they were on tour, and like hang out, maybe like record a song at each stop, and like that was the romanticized idea in my head. And then basically settle wherever I felt like the scene was, you know, really cool. And so Arizona was my first stop to hang out with my friend Tyler, who we had never met in person before. We had only ever collaborated musically online.
Oh, nice.
And but I had been a huge fan of his music since like 2006.
Okay.
And so he was kind enough to let me stay with him for a while, and I ran out of money and ended up getting a job. And you know, from there, actually with the Grid stuff, I saw that they announced on Facebook that this new bar arcade was opening up, and I messaged them and asked if they needed volunteers, and they said yeah. So I went down there, you know, just because I needed connections and
that's awesome.
Something to do with my time, and help lay down flooring and upholster chairs and stuff.
That's man, see, that's cool, and that's really good, man. That's what we've been talking about this whole time. You know, you can't wait for stuff to happen. You know, you got to make it happen, even if you have to make a small sacrifice by volunteering. I
mean, yeah, absolutely, and you go out and meet people.
Yeah.
You know, a number of my early connections out here, because I came from a punk scene, music scene in Madison. I started going to punk shows, which obviously took me to Yucca Tap Room a whole lot.
Yeah.
I got to know a whole bunch of people in that scene who were really welcoming and very cool. And
the punk scene is super welcoming. They really are. It's a nice community, the punk scene. Yeah.
So that helped me, you know, just meet a lot of people.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's really, really cool to hear that. Kind of just jumping it. You kind of just, you know, jumping ship, and that's really cool, dude, that you're at where you're at now. That's really badass, dude. That's really, really cool.
Arizona's been good to me.
Yeah. So yeah, that's man, that's really cool. I'm glad that we're talking about this, because that's exactly what this is all about, is highlighting that and getting people motivated, because if you want change, you just got to be that change.
Yeah.
It's really the point of everything. So that's
and it can be really hard to motivate yourself to do that. Depression is a real bastard, and it's not easy to overcome that and convince yourself to get out of bed, let alone go to a venue or go to a show and try to make active connections.
Especially on your own, man.
Stuff like
you know,
that.
Only knowing like 1 or 2 people. That's amazing. That's really, really cool of you, man. That's super badass. So yeah, let's get some more light stuff here. You're a big video game nerd.
Yeah.
What was the first game that you ever obsessed over?
Oh, man.
Going back.
First game I ever obsessed over.
Yeah.
It's very specific wording.
Yeah, totally.
Honestly, probably Final Fantasy VII.
Nice. Specifically the 7th one, right? Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII, I mean, I've got Cloud from Final Fantasy VII tattooed on my leg.
Oh, yes.
Like, it's, that's one that I obsessed over. There are plenty of my gaming history goes way back.
Right.
But that was the first time that I felt, like, really in awe of a game and just sucked in.
And it's funny you bring that up because I think I just saw something about the next Final Fantasy is just released today or something, right? Yeah.
The new Final Fantasy VII remake.
Oh, okay, that's what it is. Oh, nice.
They're doing a remake of Final Fantasy VII
that's
coming out in March of next year.
Oh, dude, that's going to look really crazy too, especially in updated systems. Holy shit.
Yep, and people have been clamoring for it for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's looking like it's not going to disappoint.
Oh, that's really, really cool. Well, on that same token, maybe that's the game you're obsessing over, but what is the game right now that you're kind of obsessing over?
Bloodstained is a really good one that I recently kind of got super sucked into because it's from the Koji Igarashi, the creator of Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Oh, nice.
Which was a great Castlevania game. I'm a huge Castlevania fan.
Yeah, I remember that one for sure.
And Konami has decided that they're basically not going to do anything with the Castlevania games. They just make pachinko machines now. And so it felt like, we were never going to see another, of that style of game. So Koji Igarashi was like, screw it, man. I'm going to do a Kickstarter and make a spiritual successor.
That's badass.
It plays like a Castlevania game. It's everything.
So you have to download it then? Or is it not just released in, you're saying? Or what are you saying?
Yeah, I think it is download only. They may have disc versions or something like that. But it's just available on the stores on Xbox and PS4.
Oh, nice. That's really, really cool. I've been trying to find a new game, honestly. I just like free world games,
Sure.
Skate, Grand Theft Auto. I like those ones where I can just fuck around, mess around.
People have been really clamoring for a new entry in the Skate series for a
years.
long time.
For years, I know. Skate 4.
And it actually looked like we were going to get one at E3 this year because in the Xbox showcase they showed something and everyone was like, is it Skate? And no, it wasn't. It was some other game.
Dude, I mean, somebody needs to capitalize on it. If they did another one and did it right, they'd be making a fortune. I see it everywhere. Yeah, totally. I play Skate 3 all the time. It's awesome.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
But cool. More of a serious question, but it's same area. I wanted to get to this to you with, does violence in video games make people violent?
All of the research and evidence would suggest no. Certainly no more than any other form of media depicting violence, causing violence.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
In the same way that Judas Priest's lyrics don't make you go out and kill yourself, in the same way that watching John Wick is not going to make you go on a murderous rampage, playing a video game, there's a disconnect. The mind recognizes that this is media, it is fiction,
or at least should. Yeah, definitely.
And now that's not to say that there aren't going to be unwell people who are influenced by any of the above.
Right.
Those I don't think that that's a typical story. Otherwise we would, with the way that the video game industry is these days, like how healthy it is, how much money they make, if violent video games made people violent, we would have a significantly more murderous country.
It'd be like The Purge. It'd be like The Purge for sure. And I completely agree with that. That's why I kind of want to bring it up. I feel like it's a pretty topical question nowadays. I compare it to weed. People think people are lazy because of weed. People are going to be lazy with or without weed. Yep. Just like people are going to be violent with or without these influences. There's just, unfortunately, psychological things that happen with these people growing up, and they burst one day, or whatever it may be, whatever the case may be. But to blame it on something like a video game is absurd. It's a real cop-out. It really is.
And when we've got wars going on and things like that, I would like to think, or I would expect anyway, that the real-world actions of people in power have more influence on a population, and they're violent or not violent, than some game that they go to
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, totally. Great answer, man. Really good answer. Cool. So we were talking about all this stuff that you can get done constantly. What do you like to do when you have that little bit of free time?
Sleep.
Yeah, I've gotten this one before. Yeah, dude, I dig it, man. Yeah, sleep, me too. I'm full advantage of naps and stuff.
Yeah, because of like just all the stuff that I have to get done, all the responsibilities that I have. I usually have like a little window after work, but when I can take a hour or two long nap, and that's what I do.
I'm the same way. I know I saw something. You have iguanas. Do you have any other pets or anything?
I've got a chameleon, actually.
Oh, chameleon. I'm sorry, chameleon. Yeah, that's even more badass, actually. That's why I didn't see it.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. He likes hiding in his little canopy
cool.
up there. I've got a dog and a cat.
Oh, okay, nice. Oh, yeah. I always take cat naps. I always tell people if you cuddle up with the cat, that's like 2 minutes is 2 hours. So take advantage of that one. But cool. So kind of my last couple of questions for you. You've been in AZ since 2015. Who's an AZ band that's currently killing it?
Killing it in what way?
Just in your opinion, who you think is on top in Arizona, and that you think is making the right moves and getting the right acclaim?
I have recently been kind of fanboying over Snailmate.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Snailmate is really, really cool. I love bands that are doing something unique and interesting. Mm-hmm. And if those two words don't describe Snailmate, I don't know what does.
That's cool.
I'm a guy who's like into bands like Tubbring and Mr. Bungle and stuff like that. Like these kinds of fringe outliers that do interesting mashups and that's Snailmate plays to that.
I'll have to really check out that band because I haven't heard about Tubbring in forever. I thought about that band in forever. I love Tubbring.
Just a couple years ago, they came out with a new album.
Oh, did they? Oh, you know what? My buddy Mark was my drummer Mark. He's a huge Tubbring fan, so he was telling me about that too, actually. But I'll have to check that out. That's really cool. Snailmate, I'll have to check out. But on that same token, a band that you think here deserves more attention in Arizona. Maybe it's even Snailmate.
I would say Snailmate for sure.
Yeah.
But I think, there is a rise of video game themed rock bands or otherwise here in the Phoenix area that I'm really enjoying.
Really?
Figar needs some more attention. They are an incredible band that they're all multi-instrumentalists, and what they put together is really unique and really they do a killer job.
Figar?
Yeah, Fygar.
Oh damn! Yeah, I haven't even heard of it. I'll definitely check that out. That's fun.
And there's also Dratini on the Rocks. They're kind of like a jazzy kind of video game theme band, and
Oh wait, no, I think I've seen video of these guys. Yeah, they do it's like the Pokemon thing, and they have like at least I saw that's like their Pokemon name is.
Sure,
okay, I've seen this band. I've seen them advertised on Facebook. But yeah, that's cool, dude. That's really cool to find these little small bands that. That's what I love about this show is finding the small bands and promoting them. But it's a melting pot. That's always cool to find those really unique bands that you're talking about with Snailmate.
And actually, another one, if I can throw in there, Kawaii Robot Shark. Interesting name.
Dude, I feel like I have my ear to the ground all the time, but you're naming all these bands I haven't even checked out. So I feel that's cool.
Kawaii Robot Shark is a guy who started out playing bass along with sequence chiptune stuff on his Game Boys.
Oh, nice.
And so it would be Game Boy accompanied by bass, and all of it is original work. All of it is original, his own music. And he gets real experimental with it and really, really interesting. Very cool sound.
That's really badass.
Nowadays, I don't think he's using the bass anymore. He's using synth, but it's still that really cool atmospheric.
I would have to check that. Do you ever heard of a guy that went by Buried for a Day here in Arizona? Mm-hmm. He did the exact same thing as that. He would use like old Game Boys and Sega systems and actually create the music with those and then play guitar on them. It was crazy. I'd never seen anybody do that before, but I
love the combination of that chiptune sound, those square waves, and an actual guitar. Like Anamanaguchi is one of my favorite bands for that reason, because You've got a normal band that are also playing over, songs that they've sequenced out on NES cartridges.
Yeah, that's completely over my head. I don't even know how people begin to even start doing that. That's really badass.
Yeah, it's really, really cool stuff.
And honestly, I love that. I love seeing technology. I mean, me myself, I play in a 2-piece band, so it's cool to see like those individuals that push themselves. That's like what we were talking about. Sometimes people put up walls, but then there's these other people that are just like, fuck it, I'm going to do it. I have this material.
Yep.
I have something I'm passionate about, and I'm going to do it. So yeah, that's badass.
And actually, one last one. Sorry, I know I just keep throwing it out.
No, I love locals.
But I should throw a nod to the person who got me out here in the first place.
Oh yeah, please.
He's a musician. He goes by Modem. He doesn't play out anywhere anymore. But he used to with Trunk Space and stuff. He used to play with Terminal 11 and
MODEM.
MODEM. Yeah. You can find him on SoundCloud and stuff. Very atmospheric electronic stuff. And if you listen hard enough, if you hear a real guitar on a track, it's probably me. If you hear a real bass guitar on a track, it's probably me.
Oh really? Oh nice. Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, Brian, again, I really appreciate you making the time. You can have some sleep now.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah.